welcome everyone. If you rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Volrath?
Here.
Mr. Blanton?
Here.
Mr. Robinson?
Here.
I am not prepared. All right, can I get a motion for the acceptance of the minutes from April 16th, 2025 in the regular meeting Board of Trustees?
I will make a motion for the acceptance of the minutes from the April 16th, 2025 regular meeting of the Board of Trustees.
I will second.
Mr. Volrath?
Yes.
Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Also, could I get a motion for the acceptance of minutes from April 24th, 2025 special meeting of the Board of Trustees?
I'll make that motion for the acceptance of the minutes from the April 24th, 2025 special meeting of the Board of Trustees.
26th.
April 26th.
Oh, it is?
It does have the 24th on our agenda, but it is the 26th, if that's the
Okay.
ambassadors meeting.
My typo.
That's right.
That's all good. So
Yeah, it would be
amend
Okay,
your
so
motion.
I'll amend
26.
I'll amend the motion for the acceptance of the minutes from the April 26th, 2025 special meeting of the Board of Trustees.
I will second.
Mr. Volrath?
Yes.
Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
All right, before we go to the administrator's report, I'm just going to take a minute and would like to request take a moment of silence to remember Hamilton County Deputy Larry Henderson. Deputy Henderson was
Deputy Henderson was tragically murdered while he was working a traffic detail at the University of Cincinnati. Rest in peace.
So if you would just take a moment and we'll do a moment of silence. All right, thank you. So before we move to the administrator's report also, I would like to talk about, and the board, hopefully the board feels the same way. We wanted to thank our Miami Township residents for passing our fire levy and recognizing how critical it was to all the people that live in our township. We wanted to say a thank you to Steve Ober and his committee for working on the levy. Thank you to our fire department that they went door to door on their own time, not on the clock, on their own time, as well as working the polling locations. So we just wanted to say thank you to everyone that was involved in that, and we truly appreciate it. And we think it's exactly what Miami Township needs to provide service to all of our residents everywhere in the township and the villages we provide service for. So did you want to comment on it also, Sam?
I was out. I heard a lot of positive feedback. So as I said in the last ambassadors meeting, I think the last meeting, I'm very proud of the board and the fire department and that committee for doing an excellent job. The administration for just pulling out all the stops.
I think there was so much hard work that went into making sure the information got out. So everybody that was involved in that, thank you. But to the residents for coming out and voting. You know, it's not always the most fun thing to do is get in the car and drive up here and vote, but they came out.
And we do appreciate it very much so. All right, well, back to the meeting. We'll go to administrator's report. Mr. Brett.
Well, I was going to start with the fire levy as well. Just if you haven't seen the totals, it was 1,149 yes votes, 578 no. So about 60-40, give or take 64-40. So, you know, a lot of this too was residents who came to the meetings like Barry Moorline and Joe Williams, who went out and then talked to their neighbors and things. And you know, the trustees alone can't pass a levy. It takes community involvement. And you know, again, I'd like to echo what Trustee Blanton said about the fire union going out on their own time and passing things out and being at the polls, I think that made a big difference, so. And we got a lot of compliments on our last newsletter. I'll be sending you a deadline for the next one soon. So we had a great newsletter. We want to build on that and make the next one better, so that's all I had on that. I'm going to hit on the Jordan Road water line. Last meeting, I told everybody I was going to go meet with Justin Habig, the administrator from Cleves Waterworks in the village of Cleves. And when I met with him, he said that he felt that that was not a good project for Cleves to expend funds on, that he didn't see any benefit to them or major benefit. However, he said he was willing to do the project if the township was willing to allow the village to annex Brunsman Way off of Mount Nebo Road, and if the village was willing to allow the village of Cleves to purchase the property that we own opposite West Park on East Miami River Road and let the village annex that property. So we talked about that individually with the trustees. I think right now we're still in the discussion stage on that, and but I have a drawing from J.S. Held that we're asking Abercrombie and Associates to give us a price on. Our deal with the village of Cleves with Eric Windhusen was that the East Miami River Road portion of this project would be split between the village of Cleves and the township in cost. So
No, can you clarify that we're just talking about the East Miami River Road part, correct?
correct. We would split the cost of the water line relocation on East Miami River Road and the engineering.
Right,
And then from East Miami River Road up Jordan Road, the township would pay for that.
correct.
So I have a drawing, and I'm sorry we don't have this to share on the big screen, but this is kind of last minute stuff, trying to figure out how we can make this work. So I'm looking for a price to extend from the existing water line where it's on East Miami River Road up to Jordan Road, where we would take over anyway. And instead of, we would have had to run a 2-inch tap back to the existing homes that are adjacent to our property. So instead of that, I'm going to propose that we run an 8-inch line back there and then reconnect to the 6-inch line that the village of Cleves has. And if they want to get rid of that water line that hangs in the creek later on, they can just pick up where we leave off on East Miami at Jordan. But you know, for now, that would just eliminate them from being involved in the project. It would get us moving on the project, and both the expansion at West Park and the Jordan Road water line are really getting tight on time to get done by the end of the year. So while I don't have a price, I'd like to at least have your nod of approval on the concept, and when I get the price, I'll send it to you individually, and we can actually approve it at the next meeting. But if you all agree individually with the extra expenditure, I'll go ahead and get things rolling on that, so we're not losing any more time on the park or the water line.
Okay, and you're just talking about the water line that runs, the easement that runs through our park that we're developing, that we're gonna run along the road and then stop and then run back and hook up, correct?
We'll reconnect to the
And then,
existing Cleves service there.
and then go on all the way out to the creek to where Jordan Road is,
Yep.
right? And then we have it ran there, and then we needed to get the water line put on Jordan Road, right?
Correct.
Okay.
The East Miami River Road part would have been something we would have split the cost with Cleves. We're probably doing, this is probably 2/3 of what that total project would have been. So we were going to pay for half of the entire project anyway. And the only other difference would be the running the 8-inch line instead of a 2-inch line back to reconnect to their water line.
Right.
So it is going to be a little bit more. I don't know what that number is yet, but you know, I think it would be worthwhile to get the Jordan Road water line project in, and as a byproduct of that, we can get the park expansion going.
got that. So what are you asking us to approve right now? We were asking us to
Just-
approve,
The concept, not just,
not a dollar amount, I
no,
know that.
just tell me the,
Concept along East Miami,
Yeah,
right?
if you're-
All the way out to Jordan?
yeah, if you're
That
okay with
concept.
me pursuing this
Yes,
and getting a price on it,
okay.
then I'll call everybody individually with the price and we can approve that at the next meeting. But
All right.
if I get a yay from everybody verbally, then I'm gonna cut Bear Becker loose on the park and Abercrombie on the water line.
Okay,
But the township will be paying 100% of the water line,
Right.
is what, yeah.
right.
So basically, I
Right.
think we're gonna pay for, instead of 50%, we're gonna end up and pay for about 66%.
Okay, do we need a motion to approve to, so you
I don't think so,
pursue
just-
this?
Just,
Okay.
I just need I would like your blessing. I guess I technically don't need
I'm
it.
all in favor of it.
Well, I just want to understand a little bit more, and I know we had individual discussions, and then Trustee Blanton brought up some questions, but, so the only way, basically, without an agreement with the Village of Cleves, this is pretty much the only other alternative if we're doing it ourselves, correct?
Correct. Now, they still have to approve this plan, and
That's
I'm
what
hopeful
basically, I
that they
want to
would-
know whether there's any reliance on, if we go this route, whether we control the whole thing or whether there is still so I'm sorry to interrupt, go
No.
ahead. So they'd still have to approve,
they would still have to approve the plans because it's gonna be turned over to them. It'll be their water line. And I can't see any reason why they would turn down the additional line, because if and when they decide to fix that creek crossing, we're already across the creek for them. And they'll just have to run on up East Miami around the curve to, there's a fire hydrant just past the next set of curves. That is where we were gonna hook back into anyway.
To the
So
north.
if and when they decide to do that, that's up to them.
so we would need to start all the way down here at the bottom
Yeah,
to tap in.
yeah, that's where we were gonna start anyway with the project.
And we don't think that it's a shame that they're not interested in continuing to pursue my understanding is the sort of previously, I don't know if I want to say agreed upon, but in theory or the concept of it. So it sounds like that's a dead issue, is that correct?
Seems that way. And just so everybody knows, we offered to work out a financing deal with them so that we would put the entire system in and they could pay us back at an interest rate that would be equal to what they make on STAR funds and what we make on STAR funds. So they wouldn't have to go out and get an OWDA loan. They wouldn't have to do anything. We offered 3 or 5 years payment plan, and they weren't interested in that.
Still not interested?
No.
Okay.
So I don't think they could get it done any cheaper. There are some zero interest loans out there, but it would take them 6 months to a year to get that. So yeah. I think we did everything we can to make this happen, and I thought we had an agreement, at least in spirit, and apparently not.
Mr. Vora?
No, I think this is the only way to do it. I think we ought to at least look at the cost on this and
Try to move forward.
get going and see if we can move forward on this.
So my other question was, so we're moved past that now.
Okay.
So let's talk about the Jordan Road water line. Since we have the engineering plans, what do we have to do as a township to move forward on that?
Nothing. We're ready to
We're
put the bid
prepared.
package out once we have this resolved.
Okay, so. Hold on. Okay, hold on real quick. Let's just get clear, that's why I'm trying to get clarification. So we're all on the same page. So I know we've got the engineering plans. So when And what are we waiting on to put out the bid? Approval from Cleves?
Yes.
Okay.
So we can put it out to bid while the EPA's reviewing the plans, and, you know, it's a pretty simple upfront thing. They shouldn't have any issues with it, other than how we cross the creek may be an issue for them, but Abercrombie and Associates has talked with the Ohio EPA and with Hamilton County, and they have a plan to cross that bridge.
Okay. So if Cleves doesn't give us the approval, there's nothing stopping us from putting it out to bid and still trying to obtain that approval, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Anything from the board?
Well, that's just an interesting question. So we would move forward and put it out, even if we don't
Well-
have approval from them?
Well,
Isn't it all contingent on approval from them on?
Well, it would be contingent anyway. If we never get approval, we can't move forward. But we would do our part of the township and show good faith to the residents. If we put it out to bid, get a contractor, we've already got the engineering plans,
Right.
we've got everything done, everything we could possibly do on our end is what I'm trying to say. And then if they hold up the project, which we're ready to move forward, and we're ready to pay for it. So then the only thing we'd have to do is wait on approval from them. We would be ready to go on our end. There would no more waiting. It would be done. That's what I'm looking at. What do you think?
Yeah, I think if we do everything on our end, get ready to go, and then Cleves decides they want to sit on this, then that's on them. I mean, we've done everything we can do.
So,
I mean, we could have moved forward a while back if they just, worked with us on
Would
the
agree.
original.
Yeah, I mean, what they're telling us now is,
that's true.
unless we do X and X, they're not
Okay.
willing to move
But
forward.
we can still be prepared. We can still do everything on our end and be prepared to move forward. That's the thing.
Now, the one other thing that came up this week was, I spoke with Mr. Oakes about where that line would stop, and I did verify that's going past your house. So, He was a little worried. The survey stakes stopped
Okay.
a little short of his place, and so I did verify with
We're still going forward
them.
with it.
Your house is included.
So we're giving you the approval to do both. So you'll move forward. We're gonna
Yeah,
East Miami.
I think if we,
And we're gonna try to we're gonna move forward on the Jordan Road water line and get it finalized and get it ready to be put out to bid.
yes.
Okay.
So I don't see any reason, once we relocate that water line, that the Village of Cleves would hold on to that easement for the old water line. That would be another, way they could hold up our project, but I would think that we don't want this to become a big sticking block. So, we're putting it all in new, we're putting it in at our cost. I don't see how this doesn't work out best for everybody.
I don't either. Okay. Did you guys have some questions about it?
Yeah, I wanted to see
Yeah, that's okay. Good.
what he's talking about, that water line,
That's East Miami. That's Jordan.
and here's where it runs through right here, across the creek.
Right, and we have an
You're
easement
gonna
through
move
here.
it out to here, then run it straight back here to tap in where,
No. We're gonna take it from here, run it along here, all the way to here, and then run it back here to feed all this. And that's it.
okay. I thought you were gonna run back
No,
over this
no.
way. And I was gonna say,
No.
why would you run back to tap in right in front of that trailer?
No.
Instead of just cutting across the field?
Yeah.
And then
Oh.
Cleves will be happy, you're spending just as much in piping.
So we're there, we've got everything there for them, and then it's up to them, and we're even paying the cost, and they don't want to pick up any cost now. So
Well, they told me they
we're
were gonna do that. They said, you were dragging your feet.
We're not dragging our feet. You see right there what we're trying to do. We're gonna get this put out to bid, and hopefully, they agreed to let us take this easement out, run it along the road, and then come back here, because this borderline on our property right there still, hook it back up, run it on down to Jordan, and then we'll have that put out to bid and run Jordan water
When
line.
you run these lines, can't they just tee off of it?
I don't have a drawing, I don't wanna make any comments. The only comment that I wanna make is it sounds to me like Cleves is holding this township hostage. And I don't see how anyone can do that in the world of today. You cannot deny people water.
Well, I said the same thing, Barry. It's not just denying them water, you're denying them fresh water and fire protection.
Exactly.
That's
And
what you're
it's-
denying them.
Something is,
But
our
let's,
relationship with Cleves has went sour, somehow, somewhere. And it sounds to me like they want us to give them property,
correct,
in a substantial amount of property, correct?
correct,
Two different locations.
correct.
Well, they were actually willing to buy the property at fair market value on East Miami River Road. So,
But that should,
But
but that property don't have.
Have nothing to do
It
with that.
shouldn't be. right.
shouldn't, but
Well, the-
And
Don't we have a lawyer?
And we're willing, we're not willing, we are putting the money into this project. We do, and we do have an attorney, and he's looking at it for us right now, where we're still trying to negotiate with Cleves. I don't think anything's off the table with Cleves, it's just what's been proposed to us. And we've sent back, and Mr. Brett, tell me if I'm incorrect though, the hillside that they're wanting to purchase from us, and I don't understand why still, is our backdrop across the street from Miami Township West Park that we purchased 8, 9 years ago with a grant from the state plus money that we matched. Am I correct about that, Cindy? Where we can't develop it, we never wanted to develop it because we wanted it to stay green space for the people up on the hill, mainly for our residents that, and non-residents that enjoy our park. So we don't want to move off that property at all.
What good is it to them?
I don't know.
This seems to me like this is a leverage point. We got a game going on here.
Right, right.
Well, and as was stated, this has nothing to do with water
Do you mind
lines.
sitting down
So it really should
for
be,
me? You want to take that?
let's talk about this and
Yeah,
the verbal discussions and negotiations that went on previously.
to me,
I'm thinking
this
we
is
can
just me as
reach,
an outsider looking in, and I'm listening. Can't this be broke up into two contracts? Jordan Road be a separate contract. Then you guys argue with Cleves to get it over to Jordan Road. Jordan Road could be laid. It could be laid dry. It could be tested. We could find a way to test it, pump water in it, test it. And Jordan Road could be already put in, sitting there, waiting for Cleves to quit dangling their chain
well, that's,
so we can tie into it.
well, that's what we're saying. What I was saying is we're going to go ahead and move forward and get it put out to bid.
So that's,
So
you're
we're,
gonna have two different bids.
yes,
well, it was originally gonna be 2 bids because we were splitting that part with Cleves anyway. So it'll still be 2 bids. And I don't think Cleves is gonna say no to new water line, new
You
customers.
think, but you didn't think 2 weeks ago they'd be asking for property.
No, you're right. That was new, so.
So, I mean, sounds to me like they got us handcuffed. Yeah, when you handcuff people from having water, that's a different ballgame. I don't even see how they can do that.
well, that's my whole thing. I agree with you 100%. That's what I've been saying all along. So we're just going to move forward and get it finalized, get the one, Jordan Road put out the bid, and get the amounts on the other one, and see if we can come to an agreement on one or both,
I don't,
so we can move forward. At least we'll have them approved
Right.
on our end, so we can move forward if and when, and hopefully to God, we can reach an agreement with them.
A few months ago, there was you were worried about how you were gonna cross that creek on Jordan. Has that all been finalized?
yeah, the
They know
engineers,
They're gonna hang it, they're gonna drill it?
they're gonna hang it.
So that's no longer a problem. You know they're gonna hang it there.
Yeah, the county engineer has signed off on that and looked at it. So the EPA, the only thing the EPA may require is some type of a sleeve so that it doesn't freeze.
Sure.
So, but you know, that 6-inch line that is serving there now hangs in the middle of the creek with no sleeve, so, you know, they may not even require that. We'll see, but
So we're gonna
that's a
move
minor
ahead.
issue.
These residents right here know you're moving ahead, so they expect us to be out for, you got a good drawing on Jordan Road?
It's surveyed, we have everything ready to roll.
It's been approved by whoever?
It still has to be approved by Cleves because they're gonna take it over, but it's a pretty cut and dry installation.
I know that, but it sounds to me like this is a game. It's cut and dry, but someone doesn't like someone or something's going on.
I'm just gonna say for right now, I'm comfortable that they're gonna work with us on this, and if that changes, you'll hear it the next meeting.
We're still gonna do everything on our part,
Sure.
everything. So I guarantee you that. Yes, sir.
Where's the water gonna stop on Jordan? They're going up past us. Is it gonna stop on Thunder, or is it going on up?
No, Jim, do you know exactly, I don't know exactly where it stops.
Let me see if I can find that address.
Top of Jordan Road, City of Cincinnati Waterworks, you cannot tie the two together.
Right.
We're stopping short of the park property there at the bottom.
Thunder.
I believe, yeah, but I don't wanna say yes, but,
Thunder, because then they got the access to the creek that keep it.
Well, right, you gotta make it at least that far, cause that's where my place is at.
Well, I'm not sure. See, they quit serving
Stop
it down.
before the bridge.
Yeah, so nobody up there would get it.
Right.
Everybody that did get one was getting it. I call him Jim.
I told him we just did that to see if he was watching.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
So we did have to,
Do we have any idea what Cleves wants the property for?
they want
I
Brunswick they want to annex that for the tax base, and
So like next to West's old property?
the property on East Miami, up behind Mr. West's home. They said they would like to see that developed into condos, and they wanted to annex it so they would have the tax base.
That sounds cool.
where water was shipped down to our creek.
Well, I don't know how far up the hill.
Can you find that, or do you wanna get it to him after the meeting? or
I'm gonna have to
email
give it to you after the meeting because I can't, you know how it is when you look for something.
Dan, do you think you guys are gonna give them that land?
I'll be honest with you, on the record, I'm totally against it.
I mean, would that be up to you three to vote to make that decision?
It would.
I can tell you, I stand at no.
That's bad.
Because it's total, you've been to our park, and you've walked, I'm sure you've walked the trail and looked up on the hill. I mean, and it's all green space, and that's exactly what we bought it for, is what it's doing. The only thing we're allowed to put in there is a walking trail, and that's it. We're not, and that's what we wanted, and that's how we got money from the state when we purchased that property. I know it's been at least
I looked
8
at that
years
10
ago.
years ago, I almost bought it.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, so I know that, so, but I don't wanna budge off that. If we can work out something else with them, I would be willing and able to negotiate and listen, but not that hillside. It's like, it's not like, it is part of our park.
Yeah. And what was the other piece of ground?
The other piece was, I believe, Brunswick Way off of Mount Nebo.
Now that's a road that the first two homes are in the village of Cleves, and then there's about 7 other homes on that road.
So the first 2 was Cleve's and the rest is ours.
So what's the benefit?
They would get the tax dollars from that piece of property, and they would tip it so that they got the tax break, or the taxes. They want it for the money.
So with us expanding they're basically customers for water. That's a benefit to them, correct?
Yes.
All right, so if we pay for everything, then they're already getting a pretty substantial benefit just from the additional water customers, correct?
Yeah.
So before we go talking about other things beyond that, let's just, in my opinion, slow our horses a little bit, and because it seems like a pretty sweetheart, deal. If we take care of all the water lines, all the tap-ins, all the engineering, all the construction, basically everything, at this point.
They were gonna split the cost of the East Miami River Road portion with
Correct.
us if we sold them that ground and allowed them to annex Brunsman Way. So that was the offer.
And annexation is not a great term to be throwing around when you're trying to partner on things.
So when you go to that meeting, what's going on?
All right,
So
can we move on?
yeah, I apologize for the bad news on that. Next on my list was building security. The cameras are arriving. I believe most of them are here, and the installation should start soon. We have the upgraded AV system in and working tonight, and did we go live with this, or are you just recording it? So it's actually out on our YouTube channel live. This is a kind of our test meeting, and if everything goes well, we'll put that out on social media and on our website to let people know they can watch us live. And it'll also be there for people who can't watch live or can't make it to the meeting. They can go back and watch any of the meetings. I think we have, a year and a half of past meetings on that channel as well so far.
I can only upload so many per day, according to YouTube. So by the end of this week, we'll have all of 25, and I'll keep working to finish the audit year of 24, 23.
Cool.
So hopefully, it'll be a while at 6 videos a day.
So,
See what you can.
I want to thank Mr. Brett and Ms. Day on both of that. Obviously, that was a priority of mine from the day we started, and really, there's no reason for any other platform to worry about. I mean, you can go directly to our site and see the entire meeting from start to finish. So if anyone's interested, I think that's great that we're more transparent and letting folks see what we're up to.
Mr. Brett?
all right, that's all I have on that. Let's see. We still have, we've tabled a couple times now the adoption of the International Property Maintenance Code from 2004. And I included in your packet a narrative from Ed Lindenschmidt of why he thought it would be helpful to have that tool in our tool basket. So that's up for your consideration later on today. Kim is still working with Duke to consolidate our bills. She got a little frustrated with her contact there this week, but he called and she got him straightened out, and we're back on track with that. Just an update on Bellicor. When we made this switch, people were concerned about the response we would get from them. On Saturday morning at 7:30 before our ambassadors meeting, I had an issue with getting the projector to work here. I called him. Actually, Mike Brady, the owner of the company, called me back within 3 minutes. Fortunately, Chief Schuman had come in and he's like, oh, this is what you need to do. So he was able to get it fixed before they called back. But so Saturday morning, 7:30 in the morning, they got back to us within a couple minutes. I thought that was just good to note that the service there is good. I was going to mention something about Deputy Henderson, and that's just a sad state all around. But just so everybody knows, the Sheriff's Office will be having some neighboring communities fill in for them during the next 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, while they attend some of the services and things for Larry. So yeah, I understand he worked out here for a little bit in the past, and know somebody that he worked with. He and his wife were actually fostering a couple kids to adopt, and she's probably going to have to give them up now because she won't have the means to adopt them, which is really sad. Just from what I've heard, all around good guy. So we'll have coverage, so if anybody sees a car from Delhi or Green Township or, gosh, I guess even Harrison or someplace like that, it'll be, they're covering while the sheriffs are attending to the funerals. So, and one of the things we've talked about was how we would use Ed for nuisances and Hamilton County Planning and Zoning and Jason for complaints. Last week we got a complaint about someone building a fence, apparently after I talked with Jason Pastor, without a permit, and a fence that would be higher than permitted, so they'd have to have a variance for it. And talked to him, he said he'd get out that day. He was going to be off Thursday and Friday, so they should have gotten a note in their mailbox today or yesterday. And he's taking care of that for us, so I just want everybody to know we still are using Hamilton County Planning and Zoning for those issues. And I think that's all I have, unless you have something for me.
All right, no, we got no public presentations. All right, we can do, let's just go to old business and then on to new, and then we'll go to public comments and then back to the board.
So,
Good old business.
Old business, I think I pretty well covered the Jordan Road update. Next item is the resolution to adopt and allocate funds for the outdoor fitness court as part of the 2025 National Fitness Campaign. And as long as we're planning to go ahead this year with West Park, which I take it by the consensus here today that we are, today is the kind of drop dead date to get the grant of $30,000 to apply towards the cost of that. So if you're comfortable that we're going ahead with that, we need to approve this resolution today.
All right, any discussion?
So this is, the park is still contingent on the water line, correct? Figure it out.
It's going to be a water line and what we can do over top of the easement that they have if they won't go along with the water line. Alex seems to think we can build over top the easement, but all we've done is get a preliminary thought on that. So
I still don't see how they can stop us from, it's our easement, their water line, but pulling it out, running along the road, and then hooking it back up. I just can't, because we own the property.
well, they have the easement. They would have to, agree to abandon that easement in the process of putting the new water line in. But you're right, it makes no sense not to.
It doesn't make sense.
Well, and I think we're all in agreement with that, but this would commit us to this expenditure, a sizable expenditure of $110,000 essentially, 140 and minus the 30, so $110,000, not knowing for sure if we have that approval.
Yes.
And I don't know, I'm just a little leery of writing a check for $110,000 without having the green light from them, and that could hold us up.
You got everything ready, and then when they lollygag around, bring the media, they can't afford it, they'll bail.
Well, but this would still be $110,000 that we, and it's a big gamble. It's not a $5,000 gamble, it's a $110,000
I
gamble.
agree with you.
And so I don't want, is there any way we could go back to them? And I know you said it was the drop dead
That's,
last day, but, and ask for another 2 weeks just so that we can try to see what Cleves is gonna say on this water.
When's Cleve's meetings?
their meeting's the second Wednesday at 7.
They don't, it's the 20th.
Oh, so they changed it for this month.
The question is, can we apply for the grant? If we don't use the money, we gotta give it back, correct?
We've already applied for it. We've already,
Okay, you already.
It's more credit towards,
So it would be accepting it and committing to
to the
Right.
price that
pay
we
for
paid.
this.
Correct.
But if we don't, we have to give the money back.
well, no, they're gonna send us the pieces for that. And then, so we would have all that, and then
I mean,
if
that's
we
my
don't install it, we would owe them, I think, everything back, basically.
Right.
That's my concern. And so, I don't know. That's just,
How do you feel about it?
So the other side of the coin is, you don't take the grant, we end up moving forward with everything, then we're out the $30,000 grant.
So,
We go back to
and
140.
and here's how I feel about it. And I see exactly what you're saying, Mike. But my thing is, if we are gonna lose the 30,000 out of the $30,000 if we don't move forward, but eventually, we are going to be able, whether we have to take Cleves to court or not, I don't know. I'm hoping it never comes to that. But I would think eventually, and when I say eventually, I'm hoping this year, by the end of this year, we could have this resolved and be moving forward with this. That's, I see where Mike's coming from, but I just hate to lose. We've applied for this grant and we got accepted this 30,000. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful addition to our park, our extension we're putting in. And I would just hate to lose it. On the flip side of that, if we don't take the grant, if we don't approve this tonight, we could still pour the pad. If we get approval in the next couple of months, we could still pour the pad, it's in the plans, and then go back and purchase, and then we're out 30,000 if we repurchase this. That's what we're at.
So, or we could,
If we move forward, not if we move forward, when we move forward.
I can explain the situation. We can hope that, they'll give us an extension again. And if not, we can apply for it again and start all over.
Right.
It was,
And we do move forward, we can still pour the pad that
or at least
our
reserve the
center
area.
goes on.
Yeah.
And keep, I don't see why we couldn't pour the pad and keep it all, then all we have to do is go through the process again.
Yeah.
And then we can still have the area and the pad poured, and we could, if they don't give us the grant, we could still move forward and buy the equipment.
Yeah.
So we're gonna lose 30,000 is what's gonna happen, because eventually we're gonna do this, one way or the
I believe
other,
one way or the
would
other,
think. Right,
I've,
I would think so.
nobody from the board has said they don't want to move forward on this to me, so, it's just a matter of, getting this one little thing ironed out, which is just holding up.
Can you make the call to them and see
Yeah,
if
we
they'll,
can extend it.
if they'll extend a grant?
Now?
Hmm?
I can call now if you want.
No, you don't have to call
Yeah.
now. What I'm saying is, if they gave us till this month, we've already extended us once from April to May,
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah. They extended it
so
till,
if we don't approve it tonight, we're losing it.
yes,
We're gonna lose it.
Unless
technically.
they extend it.
Unless they
Well-
would offer an extension.
Unless they offer.
Yeah, I went from
extend-
April 30th to May 7th.
Well, technically, this
Well,
was
they
supposed to
wanted it
be,
back in
this was
in
supposed to be done in
March.
February. We had it on the
Yeah.
agenda in February, and we got an
Yeah.
extension for
And we were putting it off for the final.
this resolution. And quite honestly, I question whether they have people knocking their doors down at this time of year to
Right.
jump in and be pre-approved like we are, so.
Well,
And if you want,
let's ask for the extension.
okay,
And let's keep it in our plans. Let's pour the pad when we move forward with the gym or the park. Then we can always go back and do this. If we don't get the grant money, we can wait another year and then purchase the equipment and apply again, like you said.
yeah,
So we can always do
or
that.
it'll
At
make
least
up.
we'll have the land set aside, the pad poured, because we know the size, and everything will be there, and all we have to do is purchase it, and come in and get it installed.
Or, worst comes to worst, it can be a basketball court and pickleball.
So, that's true.
Assuming pickleball is still as popular in a couple
Right.
years.
So let's, is everybody comfortable with that? You
Yeah.
comfortable with that?
Yes.
All right, I'm fine with that.
All right, next on the agenda is resolution that we've tabled, Resolution 2025-06, to adopt the 2024 Property Maintenance Code. I'm hoping that the information that Ed gave you will help you see why he wanted that tool in the toolbox. So,
I've read through this. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't want to use this tool. I mean, it doesn't mean that we have to cite to this, but it is another tool in the toolbox. And I think, worse comes to worse, and there's, for some reason, we find out it's no good, we can always go back to how we're doing things now.
I agree wholeheartedly with Trustee Vorath. I appreciate Mr. Lindenschmidt's letter kind of outlining the reasons and why this could be very useful. I know that the time I've been here, there's been a lot of frustration as far as the lack of ability for us to have teeth and really hold residents accountable that are keeping up with their property. And I think that this would be a good avenue and give us just more options. And like you pointed out, doesn't mean we have to, there can be some discretion used, and if they're making a good effort to comply, but some of them that just thumb their nose at us and show no effort whatsoever, it gives us some options.
All right. Anyways, I don't have any discussion about it.
All right, then I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2025-06, a resolution adopting the International Property Maintenance Code for 2025, amended as presented by Mr. Lindenschmidt.
All right, I will second.
Mr. Volrath?
Yes.
Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
and that's all I had under old business, although I got a couple extra letter points in there. They're all dealing with the property maintenance code.
Okay. Let's move to new business then.
All right, so first on new business, Mr. Blanton and I went over the roadway projects with Strasser, and the one addition that we decided needed to be added to this year was crack sealing the cul-de-sac portion of Gallia Court, and the cost on that is only an extra $1,010.41. However, they've asked us to sign a whole new contract. So the original contract was $421,983. The new contract with the addition is $422,993.50. So since they wanted the whole new thing signed, I thought we should bring it before the board rather than me approve the $1,000.
Any discussion? All right, I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution or the,
You're,
I lost it. What?
it's not you're just moving to an increase.
We're
Increase
just-
the contract
Right,
amount.
right. We're just
Is there-
increasing from
Right.
$421,983.09 to $422,993.50, and I'll make that a motion.
Second?
Mr. Volrath?
Yes.
Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Do they need it? I'll cancel the other PO and redo it.
Or you can
just
just
set
issue
them.
an additional PO.
Okay,
It would be easier than canceling.
thank you.
Next on our agenda, Resolution 2025-08. This is a resolution amending Resolution 2025-05, which was the cleanup of the property on Bridgetown Road. And what this will do is allow us to give the owners notice that they have 14 days to claim their vehicles and pay the storage fees, or we're going to take ownership and dispose of those through either an auction or on-site. I think for the condition they're in, we can probably have a quick auction, and unless somebody else wants to be the auctioneer, I can auction them off. I've done that twice in my career as a politician, and I'm afraid that they're gonna be something that somebody's gonna look at and go, that weighs this much, and that's what it's worth.
Right, yep.
So.
Okay.
All right, do we have a motion?
Make a motion that we adopt resolution, or addendum to resolution 2025-05.
I will second.
Okay. Mr. Volrath?
Yes.
Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes, and that was resolution 2025-08.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, I finally was able to bring you some good news.
I know, I saw that.
So, back when we first approved the sheriff's contract, the contract that we approved did not include the village of Addiston. So, since then, Addiston has become part of the district, and it lowers our fees by about 5.6%. And they've asked us to approve this new contract at a lesser amount. And just so everybody knows, all three of the entities that originally signed this, Village of Cleves, Village of North Bend, and Township of Miami, all will be paying a little less because Addiston decided to do away with their police department and join in on this contract. So it is less money. It also starts this year instead of last year, so it gets us through 2027 with a firm amount. So.
All right, any discussion from the board?
No, I think this is a good thing. Again, Mr. Brett and I negotiated the original with the county administration, and saving us money and giving us more certainty is a good thing. So.
All right, any discussion? All right, do we have a motion?
Make a motion that we adopt the revised sheriff's agreement reflecting the 5.65 reduction from what we were originally paying.
All right, I will second.
Mr. Volrath?
Yes.
Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Brett, do you have any?
Will they go back to January?
No, it'll start when we send this in.
Okay.
So, and one other item under new business is something Mr. Vorath called me about today.
Yeah, there's been several phone calls from an individual back on, he lives on the corner of Pickway and Gallia. They have been requesting a four-way stop in there. There's stop signs at Gallia, but nothing on Pickway, and he said kids crossing that street have almost been hit by cars multiple times, people flying through that subdivision. I kind of went back and looked myself, and I could definitely see it. What they're asking for is for us to approve a four-way stop right there and at least slow the traffic down a little bit.
Okay, any discussion?
I haven't been around forever. I didn't, so that's something we can
We can do.
approve.
It's our streets, we own them.
I know, but I didn't know if we needed to like
No.
have a
I would say.
sheriff's weigh in or do some traffic thing or engineer.
No, we don't need anybody for approval of it.
And I would say if we move forward with approving this, be on the, like having Mr. Brett go out with Wayne and make sure there's
Yeah,
no.
we install them,
Yeah.
the maintenance department installs the stop signs and no parking signs and
Yeah,
all that,
so- So unless Mr. Miller and I find some reason that it won't work, if we do, we'll come back to you next meeting. So, and I don't know if I gave everybody what I gave you, but that's the overhead.
We'll just go ahead and make it go ahead and make it a motion.
All right, I will make a motion to install, have a four-way stop there at the intersection of Pickway and Gallia.
I will second.
All right, Mr. Volrath?
Yes.
Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes. And I will say, it's sometimes hard to even see when you're turning from Galileo onto Pickway with those parked cars there, so that's
Yeah.
good thing.
And that's why, when you look at that with weighing, you might want to look at the parking situation also with that and how close they are
So
there.
there we have to,
So,
We will, there's a statute on how far you can
Right,
park
right,
from the
now
stop
you
sign.
have to have hearings
So once we
and-
have that,
they put new signs in my stop signs in my son's subdivision. They just added them, and they've been there for 4 or 5 years. And they didn't address the parking situation, and they're parking right on top of the stop sign. It's wild.
I think I want to say it's 30 feet, maybe 50, but I think
Right,
it's 30
right,
feet.
right.
There's no parking within 30 foot
Yeah.
of a stop sign,
I
but
think
we
it
have
is.
to post that.
But
yeah, that's different.
take that in consideration, because we're gonna have to notify the residents of that and
Yeah.
Public
everything.
hearings and.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so they know about it.
So, and I'll make sure that we send something to the homeowners association over there, just to let them know that, put out there people that were, planning to turn that into a 4-way stop.
Well, and ask the HOA if they would like to chime in, even
Yeah.
though we've already voted on it.
You can always
It's
change your
not-
mind.
Right.
We can, and it's not, it can't be bad, because it slows traffic down, so it cannot be bad.
Honestly, I've been back there because we've had some complaints on vehicles parked there, and they're right, people come up over the hill and don't realize Pick was there, and they zoom straight across.
Right,
So-
right.
I think the other piece is too, if we do install the new stop sign, maybe we can have the sheriff's office sit there for a little bit and make sure people are stopping.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right, anything else, Mr. Brett?
I didn't have anything.
All right, did you have something else? I haven't went to the board yet. All right, anything from the public? Barry, Ms. Morlon, Dale, Joe? All right. Mr. Robertson, do you have anything?
I just want to make sure that the board was aware, we had Shred Day this past Saturday, and we put it out immediately on our social media, which was about the only platform we could do that, but about halfway through, a little bit more than halfway through, the truck was full. And that's a good thing. I couldn't believe it. I was out in the rain. It was pouring down. We really thought there'd be lighter turnout, but we had huge turnout. In addition to the huge turnout, we had made a point of saying no businesses could come up and just
Right.
basically clear out their entire business. However, we did have a resident or two where relative, I don't know if it was grandpa or a dad or something, passed away. They cleaned out the house and brought up 4 truckloads of boxes. Certainly didn't anticipate that, and I mean, it is a resident of the township, so we really didn't feel like we could say, no. But unfortunately, that meant that our truck filled up much faster than usual. We asked for a second truck to come, and they said it would be an hour and a half to 2 hours before another truck could get there. Obviously, that would be well after the finishing time. So if anyone has heard any complaints or issues, we've taken a call or two. I know Ms. Day has responded. I went out and stood there for a while trying to explain to folks the situation. We can discuss whether at some point we have another one or whatever the situation is, I don't know. But just, again, if you're getting asked about that, I wanted everybody to be aware of kind of how that went down. Last year, we had 1 truck, and it was close to filling up, but didn't fill up all the way out of the entire window of time. So it's a guessing game. You can't
Right.
really, you don't want to overpay and pay for 2 trucks for no reason and have the second one just sit there and not even be used. But that's what went kind of
And
happened.
on that note, I don't know, we got a check for the recycling for 5,000. Thanks for Kim putting all the information in, and so we got that check. I
That's
got it
wonderful.
today, so.
And I do want to thank LCNB Bank, who partners with us
Right.
on that effort, and the firefighters. Again, because of the rain, instead of going out in the parking lot like normal, we circled around, came through the bay so that the truck could be indoors and the volunteers could be emptying indoors. And I directed traffic out on Bridgetown, but it was good. So, and I know everybody's already said about Deputy Henderson, but I knew him as well, and it's just completely tragic. And he was soft-spoken, very even-keel guy, but he had the broad shoulders, and you knew not to, you know, if he needed to throw it into deputy mode, he certainly could, but he was just a great family man and mourn his loss.
Mr. Vorath?
I have nothing.
Ms. Ogier?
No?
All right, I don't have anything. I just wanted to thank our residents again. We appreciate the passage of our fire levy. It's so critical to the township and our residents, and that's all I have. Anything from the public about a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay, I will second.
Mr. Volrath?
Yes.
Mr. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
All right.